Hello and thanks for staying with us. Nigerian Customs Service continue to wage war against smugglers all over the country. Plus, more report. I am Igiseme Ideye. Stay tuned. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has continued to preach to members of the public that Nigerian Customs Service will continue to implement our rules as approved by the federal government.
For those who knew when I took over the realm of administration of the Nigerian Customs Service, there was three key mandates that were given to me by Mr. President. And that's what we now today call in the Nigerian Customs Service as the 3 R's. And the directive was very clear. When I was sent to Nigerian Customs Service, Mr. President said, I want you to go there, reform the service, restructure, and then raise revenue. Those were his clear words, and they were very unambiguous. So I knew when I stepped out of his office, I know where I'm going, and I know what I have been given. So today, in my press briefing, I will stick to these 3 mandates. I will address each one of them as to how far we have been able to make progress and what are the challenges and then what we need to do going forward. The reforms that I talked about, which is the first part of it. And why do we choose reform as the first part of it? Because human capital is what makes an organization. If you're not able to get the human capital positively on your side, then the chances of success is very, very dismal. So in arranging those mandates, Mr. President is very much aware that we must first and foremost take cognizance of the human capital. And what do we do to make sure that you align the 15,000 plus Nigerian Customs men and women along the line and the path of progress? So what we did was we created, first thing we needed to do is to look at our training and remodel it. And the best way we could do that is to come up with, we borrowed a leaf from the Army, thanks to where's the colonel. We borrowed a leaf from the Army. That was where I came from. We have what is called Nigerian Army TRADOC. TRADOC is Training Doctrine Command. It is the house where training is built, skewed, and then screwed and modeled to fit the people you want to train. So the first thing we decided to do is to create a training and doctrine department responsible for the development of doctrine for mental and moral and ethical direction of officers. Because you must do that to get the capital. Then we introduce the implementation of the simplified modern business, because now that we have now found a focus for the human capital, what is next is in our own business of import, export, processing. So we address the issue of implementation of simplified modern business process, which of course, if you know, one of the gridlock we do have at the port is because we have so extensive procedures of clearance. There are over then, I think about 17 or so, or less than that, that you have to go through from one table to the other to get it sorted out. So the first thing to do is to reduce that time frame in order to make sure that an importer will not incur additional cost because he wants to clear his goods. Because if for every day after the first, how many days, 1 week, you begin to accumulate demurrage. And for every day the container stays in the hands of the terminal operators, they charge you. So the best thing you can do for any importer is to fast track the process of the clearance of this. So we address the issue of simplified process of export-import.
He also speaks on a number of issues in Abuja.
Yes, I thought I mentioned it that we were given the target of 3.019 trillion for the year 2022. And I told you that we have, so far, as at the last take, we have collected 2.143 trillion. So we're working towards making sure that we get to the target. But I've also told you our challenges that as a matter of fact, as a result of some of the factors, some of the key areas that were factored into the 3.019 was the collection of the telecommunication tax, which up to now we have not started. Also the collection of the carbonated drinks tax, which we started just in June or July. So we did not start at the time we were supposed to start, and those are factored. Those figures ought to have added to the 3.019. And that, so but despite that, we're working very assiduously to make sure that we blocked other chances and see if we can, by the end of December, report to Nigerians that we have been able to make the 3.019 trillion target. Then, Voice of Nigeria is still issue on borders. Let me say, I don't think we should, we do not have the capacity and we do not have the money to build fence along our borders. Because even the United States that Trump said he was going to build, they discover that it's not cost effective. It's not cost effective. And let me tell you, if the fact that you build fences does not mean that people will not still find a way of bringing. So what we are doing is making sure that we work closely with our neighbors. Is the best way of solving this problem. If we have a good understanding with our neighboring countries and we work based on the protocol of the ECOWAS protocol, all these things will stop. So we are working closely. As of today, between us and Niger, we have almost a perfect system there. There are virtually not, if there's smuggling going on is very minimal. Where we have problems is our borders with Benin Republic. That's where we are having problems. And we are working with them to see if we can create a synergy to make sure that we protect ourselves and protect each other. So the best way to, is like, smuggling is like, I had to use this word. It's an old, is one of the oldest, do I call it career or exploit of human being. Between America and Canada, as sophisticated as they are, up to today's cigarette is being smuggled between those. So it is something that nations can only do the best to reduce it to the barest minimum. And that's what we're doing, to say we have stopped smuggling. Because even in your pocket, you can carry goods worth millions, especially for women. I'm sorry to say this. When they travel and they come back, they buy diamonds of millions. They put it in that bag, you will never know. You'll never know. So that's why sometimes when our custom officers say, "Can I see your bag?" they take offense. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of things can be smuggled through that. So how do we beat that? And that's why we are eager to deploy scanners.
The controller in charge of Tinkan Customs Command has been speaking on the revenue generation of the command in 2023. He has this to say on revenue generation of the command in 2022.
The operational processes of Nigerian Customs in the year under review strongly align with the theme for the 2022 International Customs Day, which was scaling up custom digital transformation by embracing a data culture and building a data ecosystem. This is evident through the implementation of the VIM Valuation Service, a service that depends solely on the information stored on customs and third-party database to determine the value of an imported vehicle for the purpose of determining customs duty. The VIM valuation has simplified and facilitated the custom clearance process of legitimately imported vehicles by providing a uniform, fair and neutral value across board on vehicles with identical brands, model and year of manufacture, in line with provisions of Article 7 of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade of 1994. The VIM valuation platform helped the command to achieve expedited clearance process due to the predictability of value assessment, increased revenue generation, improved ease of doing business, as well as generation of accurate statistics for the federal government. It is pertinent to mention that most of the initial challenges at the early stages of the implementation have been reduced to the barest minimum, as the command built on both the successes and the challenges of the use of the financial regime 846 for non-standard and accidented vehicles that were not captured in the VIM valuation service on the NICEs with the use of financial regime 000. The financial regime 846 automated procedure was developed to allow the clearance submit, monitor, and track the status of their applications online and in real time. I would mention for record purposes that the 846 electronic 846 started in Tinkan Island Port and is still ongoing in Tinkan Island Port. It has not been introduced to other commands because Tinkan Island Port was used to pilot the application so that we can deal with the challenges that comes with it before going national. But very soon it will be replicated in all commands. Regardless, the command, the web-based application automated the current manual process, thereby eliminating paperwork, delays, document falsifications, and has increased revenue through enhanced processing time. It is nostalgic to note that despite the myriad of benefits of the system, the trainings organized for the stakeholders, and the creation of help desks with dedicated officers and phone numbers, recalcitrant stakeholders circumvent the platform, engage in falsification of documents, forge signatures, and insist on non-compliance to the system. Regardless, the command is poised to continuous building on the automation, simplification, standardization, harmonization of all custom processes in line with the revised Kyoto Convention and international best practices. We are eternally grateful to God Almighty for His protection, guidance, and wisdom throughout the year 2022. To our indefatigable and amiable Contract General of Customs, Colonel Ibrahim Hamid Ali, retired MFR, and his management team, we express our profound gratitude for your immense support and persistent commitment towards enhancing the capacity of the service. To our dependable media friends, you are specially recognized as your objective criticism and reportage are moral boosters. we do not take your partnership for granted. I heartily treasure the immense contribution of the command's management team, officers and men of the command, as well as heads of all headquarters units. Like Oliver Twist, I appeal that the command continue to work as a team in order to achieve greater heights in 2023. In summary, the prognosis of the command for 2023 will include improved revenue profile, facilitation of legitimate trade, enhanced capacity and skills of officers and men of the command. And also, because of the theme of this year, World Customs Day, which says we should nurture the next generation, and that we should also share knowledge, and that we should also take pride in our profession. These are the keys. These are things we intend to also bring to fore in this year 2023. Also, conscious efforts will be made on making the VIM valuation, the automated 846 procedure, as well as the deployment of the non-intrusive inspection technology platform work more effectively. This is in line with the projected modernization of all custom processes and procedures under the Custom Management Modernization Project.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The FOU Zone A of Nigerian Customs Service has continued to speak against smuggling of consignment into the country through the unapproved route by unscrupulous smugglers and importers operating along the nation's borderline. The controller says that Nigerian Customs Service will continue to arrest any consignment not approved by government from importers who refuse to pay duty to the government. He speaks more on a number of issues.
This is calcium carbide, about 450 drums, that's 106 kg each, with DPV value of 24,577,340 naira. The status of this drum is still under detention because the owner said he has EUC for it. So we are waiting for the presentation of that EUC. Failure to produce the EUC within the time frame, then we have no any other choice to do what the law says, and we have to prosecute the person.
You had this type of seizure last year.
Important we note that this is part of the byproduct of making bombs, IED. And with our good eye officers, it is important and instructive we note that we have to go after such things, most especially those that are under restriction, that some people will use the opportunity to now bring those things in. In the sense that you have been seeing this. We have 11 motorcycles. This is how you see them, they will load the rice, the bush. And immediately when an officer or a patrol team is sighted, they will just jump. In fact, if you see them running away, in fact, antelope they even run faster than antelope. So we have about 11 vehicles here, and we have motorcycles, then vehicles, so many. But the total rice we have for the month of January is well over 5,000. We have harnessed our human resources and logistics for the prevention of economic sabotage. We did not only re-strategize our operations, but our officers are urged to be more professional and are keyed into the Service Standard Operations Procedure, SOP, aimed at facilitating legitimate trade. In doing this,
we are assuring all compliant traders and importers that they have nothing to fear, while the recalcitrant ones are advised to desist because we are better mobilized with high morale to arrest, prosecute, and make them lose their wares in forfeiture to the federal government of Nigeria. Seizures recorded in January 2023 are a reflection of our officers' commitment to duty and no compromise posture in the discharge of our statutory responsibilities aimed at protecting the national economy and preventing the importation of prohibited and harmful goods. Prominent among the seizures are 5,481 by 50 kg bags of foreign parboiled rice, equivalent to over 9 trailer loads. 47,750 liters of premium motor spirit. 68 pieces of military camouflage. 314 pieces of used tires. 11 units of used motorcycles. 13 units of used motor vehicles. 450 by 106 kg drums of carbide. That one is under detention. These goods were intercepted along the border corridors of the Southwest for contravening different customs laws. 11 suspects were arrested in connection with some of the wares, while the Federal High Court had convicted 3 people for the crime of smuggling. The total DPV value of the seized goods is 517,918,790 naira, while the sum of 86,117,398 naira 50 kobo was recovered as revenue into the Federation account through the issuance of demand notices on custom duties that were discovered to be underpaid. Considering the spate of insecurity across the country and the upcoming general elections, it can be postulated that the importation of Indian hemp and military camouflage could be used to fuel crimes and electoral violence by unpatriotic elements. While the former is under prohibition, the latter are under the control and supervision of the Office of National Security Advisor, which requires end-user certificates. Members of the public are hereby enjoined to key into the prevailing security concerns by providing useful, timely information that could expose and lead to the arrest of enemies of the state. Join me as I lead you to Government Warehouse for the handing over of 2,135 wraps, about weighing 1,163 kg of cannabis sativa, otherwise known as Indian hemp, to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, while I show you other seizures made within the period under review.
The Apapa Customs Controller has continued to warn smugglers who engage in bringing in consignment into the ports without government approval. He was speaking when he handed over a truck loaded of tramadol to NDLA in Lagos. Just before I up this week's edition of the program, Customs Report, for me, Igesema Edine. Thanks for watching.